So today on Heavy Pedal Garage, we're going to be working on our lighting situation. We've got the rear tail lights that we're going to clean up and repaint the bracketry on that, as well as the exterior bezel. The overall goal is going to be to get this apart so we can clean up and paint this bezel, but I also want to restore the tail light and possibly tint that as well. So to start, pretty straightforward. Each of these screw threads have a little washer with kind of a rubberized gasket on it. So we just need to work those off of the stud here. And that can be done by simply twisting and, really it's that rubber stud that's kind of holding it on, or the rubber gasket. We'll go ahead and take these off. These are simply rubber gaskets. You'll probably want to replace them. They're hard and probably not going to reform when you reinstall these to provide a good seal. So I want to use the right size Phillips screwdriver to start with. And I'm going to put significant down pressure into that Phillips and turn to break it loose. Definitely don't want to strip that out. Now I suppose, I'll show you here in a second, there is a metal clip that you might be able to cut, remove, break from the inside if you happen to strip out a screw. Well, this one may already be broken. I believe it is, because that screw isn't coming loose. So here's that clip I was telling you about. Can you see it down in there? So it's just one of those little, speed clips or whatever. And I think this one is wallered out, or one of the tabs is broken and it's not allowing that screw to come out. So we're just going to wrestle with this with a common screwdriver since it's so rusty, and just see if we can't, unclip it. We'll see what happens. So there we go. We'll split this apart. I think it just comes apart pretty easily. And we'll get that all soaking so we can clean this all up, and then we'll reseal this with a new glue, silicone sealant or something. So to separate the actual lens from the bezel, I just need to put a little bit of pressure, and now it comes right off. So we can work on getting this all sanded and cleaned. You can see here's the original silver of the car, but somebody has primed over it over the years. And then as far as the lens goes, we're gonna clean this up. If it's still pretty dirty on the inside, we may take that apart. But so this looks okay. This in between's not gonna matter. All right, so I lied. I can't help myself. I gotta take it apart and see what's in there. But this is just a 1/4 inch nut driver that I'm using, and these screws or bolts or whatever are into plastic, so be very careful. You don't want to crack your plastic, but they're also not going to be rusted tight, so they should come out fairly easy. And I say that, and that one twisted off, so we'll have to drill that out. And that one's the same. So these are pretty rusty. Maybe I shouldn't have decided to take this apart. I'm committed now, but they're all snapping. All right, one more. Let's see if we can break this one too. Crunchies, usually not good, but in this case, it means it's spinning. All right, so that's what we got there. These are really rusting out, so sucks that I snapped them off, but I'm glad I did because they're just deteriorated. So we'll put all new hardware in here. And there we go. Okay, so I tried a little bit of everything to get those studs that broke out. A couple of them I was able to get with vice grips. There was enough of a nub I could turn it out, but the others, no way. So I tried drilling them out, and that was not working. Where this is plastic, you know, the drill bit kept sliding off what little bit of metal was there. I couldn't get a good start on it, and it was wanting to slide in and, you know, mar up the plastic. But then I got the idea. I used a little hacksaw blade, and I cut a little nub off of the back side of this. You see, that would have been like that. So there's one that's intact. But I just run that little blade all the way around, and I was able to take vice grips and pop this off. And then there was, you know, enough of a nub sticking out of there that I could back it out this way. So that's worked. Then, you know, I was kind of looking at this paint inside of here. On the other one, it's a little worse. You know, you can see the black underneath. So I think what I'm going to do is use some of this ducting tape. It's like a silver metallic. Instead of trying to repaint this, I'm just going to line it with this reflective material. Maybe it'll even work better. Alrighty, here's what we look like after all that's done. Pretty straightforward. I think that's going to work out great. Or I'm really going to screw myself if it doesn't work out and I have to peel all this off. But either way, we're going to be good for a little while. I think it'll be all right. I'll also show you this. This is the license plate light. So I cleaned up the lens and I used some of this air tint to get that going. And then as far as the housing, I lined the inside with the foil tape, and then I painted the surface black because you can see it through there, and it didn't look real good with just the white. I think that's going to look a lot better with the black, kind of all blend together. So we'll seal that up. I just cleaned up all the paint overspray off the inside of the lens, really scrubbed it down, and then I went ahead and painted in between with black, because when you put the grill on there, the bezel, you can actually see some of the red lens through there. So I thought it'd be a little better if we just kind of painted a strip of black. But what I'm going to do now is use this air tint. It's a dry application from Vivid. I believe this is the smoke color. So we're just going to cut 3 strips that I can lay out here, and we'll just push it down, cut it with a sharp razor blade, use my heat gun to get everything to lay in right, and hopefully it's going to look pretty cool. Right, buddy? All right, so that went pretty well. I do think if I was gonna do this again, or when I do this again, I'm gonna use the paint instead. It turned out pretty well. I mean, it turned out okay. I just think like some of the areas where you have the lettering, you know, maybe I could have sanded that down. It doesn't stick. And then in the corners, you know, it's a little tough. I think this vinyl tint on a modern light where it's just all smooth and you don't have these raised ridges and stuff, it might be a lot better and you might not have those issues. But anyways, so the next thing we got to do is get these silver trim parts cleaned up and painted up. So all I'm going to do is use this Sharpie, and it's an actual paint pen. It's not like a regular Sharpie. It's oil-based and it's a metallic silver. So we'll just go through and put some of this paint on here with a very light touch and try not to color out of the lines. Just got them out here in the sun. Make sure all that lays in just right. So it's looking pretty good. I like how the silver's turning out. And here's more info on the Sharpie paint pen if you're interested. And the technique when using this pen wasn't necessarily to put the tip straight down on the top of that. It was to lay it kind of on its side so that it didn't float off the edge and roll off. If you have it on the side, you know, you can kind of lay it on top of that ridge, and it laid out pretty nice. So may touch that up a little bit, but it's looking pretty good.
Okay, I'm stripping off the pan. You're supposed to and you're supposed to wear this when you're doing like this.
Put it up there flat where it's taking off the stuff on the top. There you go. Now you got a little better of an angle.
Make sure to subscribe to Dad's channel, okay?
Oh, thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
Got the brake light bezels, or whatever you call them, all stripped down. You know, all the exterior surfaces are down to bare metal. And we're just gonna blast it with a little self-etching primer before we paint it with the hot rod black satin finish paint.
Dad,
yes, sir.
Can I talk to them?
Yeah, say something.
Hi. Have you seen my videos? If you do, and if you like them, subscribe, okay? Bye.
Thanks, buddy.
And subscribe for him and Dad.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate the shout out, dude. What are you doing with those things?
Cutting grass.
Ah, be careful. Jeez. Self-etch. Let's go. Not too bad. I think I'm gonna let that set up overnight and then come out tomorrow and get everything set. Hopefully we'll get some hot rod black on these. But this morning when I came out here and I was looking at the spots that I had to put a little bit of body filler in, there was some mapping around the edge of where the filler was. So I just touched it up this morning with some SEM high build primer surfacer, and I don't even need to block sand it. It just filled all of that in where the acid etch did not. So these are ready. I think the next thing I need to do is just kind of get the garage straightened up here so that we can actually get the paint gun out and the Urachem hot rod black satin color, and we'll spray it on there. So for prep, we're going to use this wax and grease remover, Urachem, followed by some regular glass cleaner, Windex, whatnot. And then this is the paint right here, the slick flat, low gloss. Pretty good stuff. Activator and reducer, it's 4:1:1, I believe. And then what we're going to shoot with is the Spectrum HTE. It's got a 1.3 tip. I love this gun. Very cool. Harbor Freight. And then this is the system that you can buy at Harbor Freight with the, you know, the little adapter for your gun. So good stuff there. Mix up. Do a couple test sprays. Make sure my pattern's right. Maybe pressure in the 20s or so. And then we'll blast them. Absolutely loving it. I think they're gonna be great. So while that stuff's drying out, I went ahead and pulled these back out, and I remembered I did buy a gasket set. So these do have the gaskets that I need for this and the rear gaskets to seal everything up. So we're gonna go ahead and put these back together. Of course, they go together the same way they came apart. I did want to show you this though. I bought these sheet metal screws, stainless steel. They look like they're about the right size to replace the ones that broke. So I'm just gonna do them all. Number 8 by 1 inch, stainless. So let's cross our fingers. Pretty spiffy. Those screws worked perfect. So when I put them in, they had the self-cutting heads, and it kind of opened that hole up just right to where they gripped. No problems there. And I was very careful when I squished this together I kind of like cinched it down like a head gas or a head, you know. Just went in a rotating pattern to keep it good. I didn't want to break these tabs, so I kind of squeezed together and just did a little bit at a time and worked my way around. Anyways, I don't know about this lens tint. I don't know. We'll see. I put it out in the sun and the edges kind of curled a little bit, and I tried to push them back down, and then like right here, it shrunk. So now there's a little edge there that's not covered, but you know, from a distance, it looks just fine, but might be a nice project for down the road once it's on the road to go ahead and pull those out and use the spray. So I'm preparing to get these installed, and I got some preparation to do. So I've got my hardware, just shot those with some spray paint. So then under the nut, I've got my washers, but there's also like this neoprene kind of washer that will squish and seal. And to get the hardware kit, it's like 20 bucks, and I'm sure you can buy the washers separate, but I have this kind of mastic. I think it's like an electrical tape, but it's squishy, smushy, and I used my trusty little punch. If you remember back when I did the door lock seal, I used this to make a gasket. And then I've got this other punch here. Don't even know what that's from, but it punched out the center hole. So the other thing that's happening is I got my wire harness here, and I'm working on just cleaning up the loom, and we're gonna get the contacts all cleaned up, and then I'm gonna clean out the trunk for what it's worth. That way, once the lights are installed, everything will be good to go. All right, guys, another order of operations flub up here. I'm gonna have to lower this bumper down. Those lights you saw, I tried to sneak them in there. I even took the spoiler tailpiece off there, and it's just not going in. So we're gonna climb under here and hope that I don't crack up the paint on this Endura bumper. Really hoping I don't have to take it all the way off. I can just kind of drop it down, but let's see what happens. All right, so that dropped it down a good bit. Doesn't look like I'm touching. Not have to worry about any crack in there, so let's cross our fingers and hope that that's enough drop. Be able to slide these bad boys in. All right, here we go. Is it gonna work, Tinker? Is it gonna work, little girl? Let's cross our fingers. Cross your paws. Oh yeah, lots of room now. Okay, good. Oh, that looks sweet. So let's get the other one in and get this bumper cinched back up, and then I'll bring you back, show you what these bad boys look like. All right, so here's the upgrade. This side's got LEDs here and here, and this is just that bright incandescent bulb. And over here, this is all incandescent, so the running light's pretty bright, and I didn't like that, so I just added the LEDs. So there's a look at LEDs, turn signals, and there's the all incandescent turn signal. That's the one. Go ahead and hit the brakes, Jack. There we go. Now it's all lit up. So I like that a lot better. We're gonna leave that incandescent and change those over to LEDs and we'll be ready to rock. Moving forward, I think we got maybe one more weekend before we can get this thing on the road. Gonna do a few little odds and ends here and a nut and bolt check, change the oil, get things looked over really good before we take it out for a highway cruise. So a few other things I need to do. There's gonna be an order of operations here. So I need to get insurance, need to get it licensed and registered, need to get it out on the road, and then hopefully the last of the series is not a speeding ticket, but we'll see. Well guys, it's been a heck of a journey getting to this point, 9 years. So I know the channel hasn't been around for that long, but those of you that have been here from the beginning, I appreciate you, and everybody along the way, thanks for subscribing and hitting that like button. Next video is what it's all about. Look, as you can see, this girl is ready to run free. I can't wait to show you guys this bad girl out in the wild. We're gonna have a ton of fun coming up. So stick around for the next video, guys, and catch me next time.